Ugh, boy, this video was in the making for a while now, huh? If you watched my first art video, Designing Legends VIII Ancestors, which is embarrassing now because of the title, I said this at the very end. Though for 2025, I wanted to start a new genre of videos on my channel, so maybe expect more art videos. Originally, this actually wasn't supposed to be the first art video, I'm still working on the other one, so yeah, so this is the video. A year later, but in the making for 2. I remember brewing up this idea before Side Order came out, which is also not good. Hello everyone, I'm Holothera, and this video was supposed to be uploaded 3 years ago. I don't know why, but I tried to work on the concept in sketches, not like it, and then take a break from it to tackle it later. And then get busy with my own projects like other videos, my comics, commissions, etc. But I told myself in the mirror, Holothera December, you gotta get this shit done before Raiders comes out. So here we are! In today's video, I will be fusing my top 2 hyperfixations, that being Pokémon and Splatoon. I've been playing Splatoon since the first game when I was 10, and my first Pokémon game was Pokémon X. And both franchises have a strong grip on my life. I cannot escape it, my wallet is in shambles. So how are we fusing Splatoon and Pokémon together, you may ask? In 2 ways. I will be taking the idols, the Squid Sisters, Off the Hook, and Deep Cut, and turn them into Pokémon trainers, as well as assigning them a full team. Before we start, a few quick rules. 1. I will be designing them as humans. I could still keep them as their Inkling and Octoling selves if I wanted to, but it'll make more in-universe sense if I made them humans. Plus, this means I'll finally get to make my own kind of human designs for them. 2. I will not be giving them Pokemon that matches the species of the idol. As much as I can give Maria an Inkay or Shiver an Octillery, that just makes things way easy and too on the nose. It's too obvious and a little boring. This isn't a rule, but more of a disclaimer that I am most likely not the first person fusing Splatoon and Pokemon. Hell, and we're ignoring the official Pokemon collaboration Splatoon did in this specific disclaimer. What I'm saying is that there's probably people on social media or YouTube who did something similar like this. This is my own interpretation, and everyone's version of an idea like this will be completely different. Now then, let's finally begin with... Despite having inherently a simple concept and design, this is not an insult, they were the hardest to do. I knew what I was going to draw inspiration from. The Squid Sisters are the most idol-looking idol out of all the idols, and I knew that I had to keep that for sure on Callie and Marie. So for a duo like this, I decided to take heavy notes from the Pokemon Contest Spectaculars, specifically from Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I'm pretty damn positive on this, but if the Squid Sisters were in the Pokemon universe, they'd for sure be Pokemon coordinators. So with that idea, I had to now turn their outfits to be more like that uniform, that being the one Licia and May wears. Sorry Brendan. And that was the part that was tough. I'll get to that later. But as for the Pokemon, because we're pulling from the contest from ORAS, you might think that means I'm gonna give them Pikachus as their ace, with the whole cosplay Pikachu deal. No. It's fitting, especially because the Squid Sisters are the most iconic characters in the Splatoon series, but it's too on point and basic. Instead, I'm grabbing one of their Pika clones. We are in the Hoenn region after all. I'll be assigning them the cheering Pokemons, Plusle and Minun. I think Plusle and Minun are a great pick because not only are they the cheering Pokemon, which definitely fits on both kinds of stages, it also matches their personalities, and they're also a duo. The Pokemon community, and probably the actual Pokemon company, has made Plusle the more energetic, cheerful one, while Minun has been often portrayed being the slightly calmer one. I know it's a bit of a stretch because it's technically specific Minuns that were portrayed as calmer, but come on! So when I mentioned that they were the hardest to do, it was mainly the outfits. I didn't know if I wanted to completely shake it up or not. Early in the process, I thought that since they are humans in this case, they shouldn't be as much squid references in their design. I actually tried to give them a lightning and cloud motif instead, like a thundercloud to match their electric type with their aces, Plusle and Minun. I tried to give Callie more sharper edges and Marie more fluffy edges, and as much as it was a cute concept, it didn't feel right to me. So I scrapped it. Many attempts later, and when I tried to tackle it again this year, I decided to just add-on to their base outfit designs. I wanted to keep their whole bodysuit thing they had going on instead of trying to change it to look like a two-piece tutu like the coordinator uniform. Though that didn't stop me from taking aspects from it. Making a human Callie and Marie design itself was not really a problem, but I did want to add a slight visual difference between the two, where their face shapes, nose shape, and even eyebrows are different and not really matching anymore because they're cousins canonically. I added a colorful sleeve on the hand they raise when during their stay fresh pose. I thought it was cute. Another addition I put was giving them a plus and minus earring to match the respective aces. Okay, now let's get to the big guns. Their Pokemon teams. I gave both Callie and Marie the Kanto starters, Blastoise and Charizard to reference the first Pokemon Splatfest, Team Red versus Blue. Very straightforward, but I think Blastoise for Marie could maybe also represent that she mains the Chargers. It's a bit of a stretch since there's not really a sniper Pokemon. Okay, well there is, and that's Inteleon, but it makes more sense to me that the iconic Squid Sisters would have early gen Pokemon. Inteleon was too recent. So in that Red versus Blue Splatfest, there was dialogue between the two talking about how they were going to trade Pokemon to each other. Marie said that she was going to trade Callie a Vulpix, which was a Blue exclusive. So why not give her that Vulpix? Though that does mean Callie would have to trade Marie a Pokemon back, right? There was no dialogue indicating what Pokemon she gave her, but to follow the theme of it being exclusive, I gave her an Oddish, a Red exclusive. Another Splatfest reference, but to reference their first Splatfest, Dog vs. Cat, I gave Callie a Skitty because she was on Team Cat, and Marie an Electrike for Team Dog. Both Gen 3 Pokemon, isn't that cute? Okay, so about Callie now, but I wanted to give an idol, or try to, a Pokemon that represents their main weapon. In this case, Callie mains the Roller. So I aimed for a Pokemon that is known for having a rollout, and just known for rolling. So I finally landed on Donphan, which kinda breaks the streak of giving Callie cute Pokemon, but I think Callie would be the kind of trader to think every Pokemon is cute, even the air quote ugly ones. Which leads to her final Pokemon on Callie's team, Feebas. I think she knows Feebas can evolve into a beautiful Milotic, but she loves her Feebas just the way she is and isn't gonna force her to evolve. For Marie's last two Pokemon, oh boy, this was a struggle. This Pokemon is more linked to the main weapon reference shtick, and like I said earlier, I didn't want to give her an Inteleon. I don't want idols to have two starters anyway. After thinking a bit, I decided to give her a Pokemon that instead matches an ability to a weapon, so I thought, oh, Compound Eyes, an ability that raises the accuracy of the user. I thought it was fitting for a Charger main like that, which made me look over at Yanma and Yanmega. Yanmega is a 6-foot beast of a bug, and maybe she could hang off it and snipe from the air. It's a stretch, but it's kinda cool, isn't it? So yeah, Yanmega. Except, I fucking lied. Apparently, it's only Yanma that has the ability Compound Eyes, because when it evolves, they drop it for Speed Boost or Tinted Lens. Fuck! I was bummed as hell because Yanmega would have been so cool for Marie, but alas. Instead, I pivoted to a Pokemon that has Keen Eyes. It's kind of like Compound Eyes, but decreases the opponent's accuracy stat. And that's when I landed on Noctowl. Inherently, I don't mind Noctowl with Marie, but Yanmega. As her last Pokemon, I gave her Slowpoke. I think it kind of matches her calmer and easygoing personality well. Quick little mention though, I know I mentioned the Slowpoke specifically, and the Skitty for Callie, and I'm just here to say that it doesn't specifically have to be the unevolved forms. I can see it as their evolved form versions or not, I'm not picky here. They don't have to be unevolved unless that's my intention. And ta-da! The Squid Sisters are done! Next up... They were a little tough in the design aspect because I didn't know what outfit to draw inspiration from. I want to say specifically Splatoon 3 decided to give them a lot of alternate outfits. Splatoon 2, Octo Expansion had their outfits based off of Biggie and Tupac. Splatoon 3 had all their Springfest and Summerfest outfits. There's Splatoon 3 Insider outfit. Their Suffer No Fools outfits, dare I say. God, they're way too fashionable, I can't figure out which one to choose. Eventually though, I decided to lean into a mix of their default outfits and Octo Expansion outfits. Something that had a bit of that sleek, stylish texture while being casual and free. I did follow their design philosophy of Pearl often wearing more loose outfits and Marina just wearing more tight outfits. More specifically, their tops. Is that just a thing I noticed while doing this, or... And eventually, I came up with this sketch that I liked. As for the races, that was easy. For Pearl, I knew it was going to be a perfect gift to give the pink, energetic, and most importantly, loud Inkling an Exploud. Specifically, a shiny one. I feel like she's wealthy enough to have a shiny, maybe gifted from her father. And Marina, I gave her a Rotom. With Marina being intelligent as hell, to give her a Rotom as her ace, that's versatile just as her when it comes to technology, and now music! I remember thinking when I gave her a Rotom back then, I thought, hey, maybe Marina's Rotom goes into her Keytar or DJ booth, though that's not a canon form. And then Pokopia came out. Yeah, we're so back. I will say this now, I'm not really good at drawing Pokemon, and this video is just also a nice excuse to practice that. I don't really show my sketch process during the time-lapse because it will make the time-lapse way longer because I struggled with Pearl's Exploud hard. Body-wise, it's a bit rough, but face looked worse, and I was focusing on fixing that a lot more, and eventually it looked better. I kind of decided to go for a dynamic kind of angle for Off the Hook, because I think my brain was too focused on the background with the Squid Sisters that I couldn't do it again with Off the Hook. So I treated that for perspective, you know? Also a small thing, but it's hard to really assign a region for them and what their role would be in the Pokemon world. I made the Squid Sisters Pokemon coordinators in Hoenn, so what can I do with Off the Hook? Well, I think them currently as their Damp Socks featuring Off the Hook era makes me think that they could be doing whatever they want in traveling regions to perform or battle. Though maybe Pearl is from Hoenn and Marina could be from Unova. Let's talk about their teams, eh? Compared to the Squid Sisters, I assigned them more based on personality and vibe than actual references to stuff in Splatfest. They have such an eccentric personality, so I thought about a lot of Pokemon to match that, especially with Pearl. Example, I gave her Scrafty without even thinking. Scrafty definitely fits her boyish, butch swag energy. Same goes with Darmanitan, though it more fits Pearl's loud, boisterous, and energetic side. For Pokemon that match her backstory on being a wealthy little squid, I decided to give her two wealthy-like Pokemon. One is Furfrou. I can imagine her specifically having star trim, haircut, or maybe just one that matches the sparkle symbol Pearl is associated with, but pink. And the other one I'm a bit iffy on, but I decided to give her Goldango. While Furfrou is kind of a subtly, hey, this trainer is rich Pokemon, Goldango is more obvious. But I can argue that this can be a reference to the Love vs. Money Splatfest that all the idols have done, and Pearl was on Team Money, but I do think it'd be more funny if Pearl just didn't know Goldango was hard to get, or just doesn't know it knows the move Make It Rain, which is a move that decimates through competitive Pokemon, but also canonically just makes it rain money. And for the last Pokemon is Toxtricity, specifically Amped form. Once again, another vibe-based Pokemon, but this time it matches with Marina, as I gave her the Toxtricity 2, but the low-key form. I thought it was cute if they matched. Just like Pearl's team, this is also a bit vibe-based, like Porygon 2 and Magnezone. I originally wanted to give her a Porygon Z, but Porygon Z is to be implied a failed evolution of Porygon 2 that got a virus during the evolution, which is why Porygon Z is all glitchy and stuff. And not to glaze Marina, but I feel like she'd be smart enough to have a true Porygon Z, you know? Which is why I relegated her to Porygon 2. Maybe she's working on a glitch-free Porygon Z. Magnezone I thought also gives off smart trainer energy, but I thought it'd also be a good tie-in to reference her Octarian army roots. The Octarian army kind of always gave off an industrial military vibe that I think Magnezone fits a bit with its steel typing, and it's sort of being UFO shaped. I tried to give Marina a Pokemon that represents her main, the Brella. Couldn't really think of one for Pearl and her dualies, unfortunately, unless I gave her a Tandemaus, cause there's two of them or something like that, but it's kind of a big reach. In Marina's case, this is also a bit of a stretch, but I gave her a Shiinotic. It's the closest I can think of with its shroom head being an umbrella. In concept art, it shows that it can close though, so, lastly, a Galarian Corsola. This is a reference to Side Order. I'm gonna be blunt. Maybe she's trying to fix the Corsola too, like how she's trying to fix memories in Side Order. And all done! Before we get to our next segment, this video is sponsored by me. Haha, you thought. I recently opened up an ACG goods store, which is a website where artists sell merch that they created from their own hands. They sell various things from stickers, keychains, pins, standees, prints, and more. And on my store, I have various franchise merch like Sonic, Mario, Splatoon, and soon to be more. I even have some OCs up on there like, hey, look who it is! This is going to be the closest thing to official Holothera merch, by the way, so... I also maybe plan on putting up these illustrations as a print on my shop. I'll have to reformat it because it's not the correct ratio, but it's a big maybe, so if you want to look out for that. If anything piqued your interest, check out my store below in the description. The link will be there. Take a gander, follow, I don't care. Back to the video. Okay, so I was running out of time when I finished this illustration. So I will admit, I had to rush it a little with this art piece. There are also 3 people in this idol group, which means I had to draw 3 Pokemon. Thankfully, a Sun and Deep Cut Ace Pokemon was the easiest of them all. Come on, like... Shiver, which is not only her name, but refers to a group of sharks. Fry, which is also refers to a group of eels. And Big Man is Big Man. It was the most obvious thing that their aces were going to be Sharpedo, Electros, and Remoraid. Why Remoraid for Big Man? Well, looks like someone forgot about the rule at the beginning of the video. I'm not allowed to assign a Pokemon the same species as they were before, so that means no Mantine or Mantike. Instead, it was an obvious but giant stroke of utter genius to assign him Remoraid because Big Man's the Mantine. For those who don't know Pokemon well, Remoraid is always paired with Mantine. Like, always. I even tricked you. This isn't even the official art of Mantine. The official art has Remoraid on it. This was an edit! And it also depends on evolution too, because to make a Mantike evolve, it needs a Remoraid on the party. Obviously, it's based on how fish tend to swim under a manta ray in real life. But as obvious and on the nose as parent is, I just can't help it but smile, it's too cute. Now for the sketches. Shiver and Fry were easy to figure out, but not Big Man. I haven't before made a human design for Big Man, so I really had to get the most creative for him. At first, I thought maybe I could treat Big Man like a Pokemaniac class. In almost every game that had a Pokemaniac, they're always kind of dressed as a Pokemon, as in like, in a suit. So I sketched him out wearing a Mantine suit first, but quickly I scrapped it because I wasn't gonna pussy out on him like that. So I sketched a proper human design out, bada bing bada boom, there he is! Compared to the other idol outfits, there's a trope among the Pokemon series and anime where a character will be introduced and their design is heavily based off of their ace. Like, when I was watching the Pokemon Horizons anime and a character was introduced named Hamber, and I joked, oh, does this guy own a Dusknoir? And I was right! I wanted to avoid that a bit with the other idols, but I went to town on Deep Cut. It just made sense for them to hella look like their aces, you know? It's also because not only are they idols, but they're bandits too. Hard to say what their deal is in the Pokemon world, because the closest I can think about their chaotic lifestyle is the Misfortune Sisters from Legends Arceus. They're bandits who jump the main character whenever they can, and like money. Sounds familiar? But we're not an ancient Hisui, but maybe they're just a modern version of them? Assigning them regions is also difficult because I can assign Shiver, Sinnoh, Hoenn, Johto, or Kanto because insert place Japan here. But unfortunately, there is no Brazil and South Asia based region yet. People are speculating that Gen 10 could be based off of South Asia. So maybe I could assign Fry that though, even though we still don't know a lot about it, even no name. And I think the closest I can assign for Big Man is Paldea. Let's get to the team, shall we? I'm kinda gonna rapid fire through this because I have 15 Pokemon to cover instead of 10. and that's not including their aces. First off, I gave them all Oricorios, specifically Shiver Sensu style, Fry Pom Pom style, and Big Man Bale style. I like to think that maybe in the public eye, these are their aces, to kind of hide their true chaotic nature when their true aces are built like truck houses. Yes, that includes Remoraid. Sensu and Bale style was perfect for Shiver and Big Man, but a bit weak with Pom Pom style with Fry. So I gave her another Pokemon based off of her dancing. I gave her Hitmontop. Let me explain. I know that Hitmontop's dance fighting style derives from Capoeira, a dance that originates from Afro-Brazilian culture, not India. It's not a perfect match, but I also find how Shiver and Fry dance fascinating. Shiver tends to put most of her direction and movement into her fan, while Fry dances with her whole body. And I just couldn't not see her next to a Hitmontop, you know? And to also match each other again, I gave them all starters too. I gave Shiver Decidueye to reference that she mains the Stringer, Fry Samurott for her main in the Splatoon class, and Big Man Quaquaval. I couldn't really think of a Pokemon that could reference him main in the Slosher class, so I think him dancing with Quaquaval makes sense and is very cute. Going back to Shiver to explain the rest of her team, I gave her Frostless, Manshao, and Miss Magius. It was mostly off vibe here because Shiver is, on the surface, an elegant and refined person and thought those three could fit. Maybe with Miss Magius being a Banshee, it can also reference her singing? And I'm not trying to say that as an insult. I think Ghost typing also works really well with Shiver, if you couldn't tell by the 4 Ghost type Mon. I like vibe assign, it doesn't have to be balanced. For the remaining 2 for Fry, I gave her both Pokemon that relates to her love for food, a Morpeko and Slurpuff. These are kind of references to Splatfest, with Morpeko referencing how Fry was on Team Grub, and Slurpuff was Team Sweet, and also to reference her first Splatfest win. Hell yeah, baby! And lastly, the 3 Pokemon I have left for Big Man are Maractus, Alolan Raichu, and King Gambit. Maractus is once again a dancing reference, Alolan Raichu is based off of Vibe, and King Gambit is a bit stupid, but you know that one sunken scroll image with Big Man in a black and white picture? I could edit King Gambit in there, and I feel like it makes sense, you know? Assigning these Pokemon, especially before Legends ZA came out, I made Shiver and Fry have 2 Mega Pokemon as their ace. So I imagine that Shiver and Fry use Mega Evolution during their battle. Big Man's Remoraid can carry, trust. And hooray! That's Deep Cut and every Splatoon idol as a Pokemon trainer! Oh boy, I'm exhausted. Thank you everyone for watching this video. This was a fun little idea that, once again, been years in the making. So I'm glad to finally get this out. If you're here for the Pokemon part, subscribe because when Gen 10 drops, I'll definitely be streaming that day 1 on my YouTube and Twitch at the same time. And if you're here for the Splatoon side, I'll be streaming Raiders day 1 on my YouTube and Twitch too. And if you're here from both sides, I think I'm your guy. I'm Holothura, I've been your host for today. I hope both sides of your pillows are cold.